photograph. He uses these data for various innovative applications. His current research interests are in LiDAR data classification using deep learning techniques, LiDAR application in forest and water conservation, solar insolation estimation, GIS, and soft computing for land consolidation, and UAV data capture and processing. He has taught several courses in remote sensing, GPS, GIS, image processing, LiDAR, photogrammetry, and land surveying. Besides, he has also conducted several continuing education programs at IIT Kanpur on LiDAR technology. Dr. Lohani has published over 100 research papers and articles in journals of repute and delivered over 60 invited talks. He is a recipient of several awards and recognitions, include ISRS Geospatial Excellence Award, Fellow of Indian Society of Remote Sensing, and Fellow Institutional Surveyors. Now, he will take a session on startup orientation, emerging and commercially viable geospatial research domain. It is a pleasure to have you with us, sir. Sir, I kindly invite you to deliver the talk.
Yeah, thank you very much. Am I audible to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, thank you very much for inviting me for this talk. And my talk will be a little different, I guess, than the other talks which are here, because my talk is right now not on a kind of research paper or a description of certain technology. Rather, it is different, and because it is on the startup. And I have got some experience in this, and I think this is why Dr. Ramarao, he asked me to talk about this startup orientation. And as I was introduced, yes, from IIT Kanpur, we started our venture, GeoNo, and now it is a decade-old company and working mainly in the area of high-resolution data, especially LiDAR data. And we capture the data from airborne platforms, including aircraft and the helicopter. And also we capture the data from the mobile platform and terrestrial platform. And then finally, we convert that data so that it can be used by people, by different departments. So different kinds of processes we apply on the data, different kinds of derivatives we generate from the data. And some of the very interesting projects which our team has done are like the bullet train project, where we captured the data from Mumbai to Ahmedabad and used it for the bullet train survey corridor. And similarly, a very challenging project was done somewhere in China border by our team, and the details will come soon for a railway line. So anyway, I will not talk about the company today, and it was just an introduction because the GeoNo logo is appearing over here. And I'm professor in IIT Kanpur, and because I am founder of this GeoNo, so I'm also currently director in the GeoNo India Private Limited. So GeoNo India Private Limited is now run by my team while I'm doing my job in IIT Kanpur as professor, as an academic. Fine, I will go now for this talk. And as I said, this talk is a little different than, kind of research paper or anything research seminar, because as advised by Dr. Ramarao to me, I asked him, okay, what is the expectation from this talk? He said, okay, you suggest the areas in geospatial arena which are promising for taking up entrepreneurship or startups. Well, that's quite a challenge for me. And because I have done only one startup so far, I'm thinking of, yes, going for some more, but he has given me this task so that I can list, okay, what are those areas where people can look forward for the entrepreneurship, where the opportunities are available. So it's a very challenging task, and it's a task which is a kind of, I'm kind of predicting the future. But we know, predicting the future is really very difficult. Of course, it gives me also a lot of freedom also. I can say anything today because you're not going to hold me back tomorrow that you had told me this. And but it is also difficult. Whatever I say, and may turn out to be wrong. That's fine. And it is as difficult as today predicting that who will win the election, whether it is Biden or whether it is the Trump. So very difficult to predict. Same is, predicting how and what areas will be good for the startup, for the entrepreneurship in future in the area of geospatial. Nevertheless, well, let's try. I will try to give you an outline. And in this process, as I was going through the previous presentation by Dr. Jaya, and I'm really happy that she made a presentation on the LiDAR data, computational geometry, and extracting information from LiDAR data. And towards the end of it, I was also looking into the questions by Mr. Paul from Arunachal, Dr. Giridhar from Hyderabad, Dr. Jyoti about soil erosion, and Dr. Venkateswara for clustering of the trees. So yes, they are all very interesting applications, and I'm glad that there is a lot of awareness about the LiDAR now in India, and people are looking to solve their problems with the help of the LiDAR technology. So because I work, mainly my research is focused in LiDAR. So I will be pleased to answer some of the questions also, maybe online or offline also. You can take my email, you can write to me, and I can also answer those questions separately. All right, coming back to this talk on the startup. So as I understand from Dr. Ramarao, the audience today is, we have got senior level people, we have got middle level people, we have got young students also in the audience. So I have tried to make my talk accordingly. So somewhere where I will be touching the basics of the research, and then I will go forward. So this is the outline. I will be talking about, why startups, the very basic question is, and why academic startup. Okay, and a little bit on the Indian context. Where are we? Why are we not where the other countries are? Bit on that. And then what is the research? What is the type of the research? And what type of research is suitable for startups? And then some areas for the startups. Again, I will try to list some of the areas. And finally, I will conclude the talk. So any question that you have, you may put those questions in the chat box, and I will try to answer those. All right, so what I see, since the day I graduated in 1988, I did my BTech in 1988. And since that day till today, there is a paradigm shift in the career options. And it's a very important point. In 88, the engineers who are, my classmates, mostly we will try to see the jobs in the local PWD, irrigation department, or we will go for Indian engineering services or IS, then MTech, PhD, or the private companies. Private companies used to be the last at that time. But that is how the job orientation, that is how the people were, keen. What is there in 2020 now? And I observe my students here in IIT Kanpur. Students are talking a lot about the startup. And we see that happening in IIT Kanpur because a large number of companies are being incubated here. And then the nature of the jobs has changed. Many students are going for consultancy, analytics, or finance or IT, even from civil engineering, where I teach. Then, yes, more jobs are in private companies, and our students are very, very positive to join private companies. The IES, AS, MTech, and state government departments, they are coming towards the end of it. So we see a paradigm shift in the career options. And this is good because we want to see more and more people coming to startups so that, because we know that startups are driver of the economy of a country. So startup is a buzz now, and that is why this talk that Dr. Ramarao has asked me for this. And so why startups when we have already the scale-ups? Scale-ups are those which are established players already in the market. So I see it like this. The startups, generally, these are the set of people or these are the companies with very low inertia. They can change their course very fast. They can adapt to the new things very fast. They don't carry any baggage. Unlike the big companies have a lot of baggage. And with that baggage, they cannot adopt the new areas very fast. So this is agility of the new startups, okay, which makes them really very important. They come with a fresh slate, okay, a clean slate rather, a very clean slate. And unlike the scale ups, and ready to adapt, ready to collaborate, ready to learn the new things. And also this thing, when we start at that moment, you don't have much to lose. You're making an effort, and even if you fail, it's okay. So not much to lose, unlike the big companies. That's why the big companies will always be averse of taking the risk. But the startups, they are fine with taking the risk. And because of that reason, the startups can experiment. And finally, the startups have got a lot more ownership, feeling of the ownership, the association with the company. Not only the directors of the companies, not only the shareholders of the companies, rather the people, the young people who are working in startups also, they have much more ownership with the company. And because of this, they are highly passionate, they have desire to learn, and they have ability to thrive in ambiguities. And yes, as I said, they put company before self, and ready for collaboration. And finally, yes, they have the grit, a small team, but a lot of grit in order to realize success of their startup. So this is why startups are the engines of new technology introduction in the society. Again, yes, as I said, uh, whenever there is a high risk technology, and I know about it because once I was in IIT Kanpur, and I wanted to start something in LiDAR technology in India. And I talked to many people, many established players, that okay, fine, I've got some understanding of the technology, I can work in that, and with your help we can start a company in India. But all the established players, they were averse to take the risk. No, 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 they would say they are government regulations. They would say it is difficult to do LiDAR in India because it will not be permitted, or rather they are still, clients are not initiated. So there were all kinds of apologies, and not to get into the new area. So once we started, I started with my student, and so for a new company like ours, yes, we can take the risk. What max will fail. So same is about the startups in all the domains. They are capable of taking the high risk technologies. They're capable of working with this, unlike the scale ups. And this is a very important point for whenever the new technologies are to be introduced in society. The startups, they play a very important role there. Okay, and yes, our young people, the young people are the risk takers. They like to work in the startups, so that's why it is important. And finally, yes, startups are the drivers of economic development, and this is what we see in many countries. For example, Israel, or maybe the Silicon Valley, and many other countries. The startups, they are the drivers of economic development because they create new technologies, they create new companies, they grow much faster than the established players. So this is why they are very, very important. So I have a quote here from a provost of Trinity College in Ireland, where he says, we talk of the knowledge economy. And in India also, we talk about knowledge economy, that India can have a knowledge economy. So knowledge economy can be driven uh, more by the smaller companies which are created locally. So that's a very important thing. Then the large multi-established or multinational big companies. Okay. So startups, yes, they have got a role for the economic development of the country. Very important. Well, startups are for all. Many times, we have got this idea that startups means young people or something which is coming out from the university. That is not the case. I have seen the startups, yes, large number of startups are by young people who are coming out of the universities. But at the same time, large number of middle-aged people who are working in government departments or industries or academics, they have experience now, they have a network, and they understand the technologies. They also understand the market. So this age is also quite suitable for people to start their own ventures. And we see many such success stories from these people. Then, of course, there are also few retirees who take retirement from their job, maybe VRS, or maybe at the end of their job. They are still active. They also have, big network, understanding of the technologies. And if they have also energy, then they are starting the companies. So startup is not only for young people, rather startup is for all the people. And I'm glad that right now also in the audience, we have people from all these sections here. We have the senior people, we have middle-aged, we have young people. So this talk becomes relevant. And now I will come to the research part of it. That was in general the startup. And once we talk of the university research, converting university research into a startup, because that is the idea of this talk. And when I say university, I'm not limiting it to university. I'm also talking of the scientific organizations. For example, someone who is working in ISRO scientific, lab, or maybe in CSIR, or maybe in some other labs, wherever we are doing some research, how to convert that research into the startup. Okay, how to convert that into a successful startup. And so that is my idea. And again, the quote from Provost here, that a flourishing knowledge economy is known by its startup technology companies. And this is where the university research is crucial, because university research is directly related with the startups. There's a very good connection between these two. Only, yes, we have to direct the university research in a proper manner, and we have to promote, we have to support, so that the research which is being done in the university can be converted into successful startups. That is something, a very important thing, and a role that the government has to play. Now, again, once we are in the research, all of us, I believe all of us are doing research, whether we are in university, whether we are in scientific bodies or wherever. And from research to commerce or research to startup, I like to show this. There is an Indian paradox in this. I mostly like to show this, and the Indian paradox that I show is this. Because mostly in India, research, academics, that means we are pursuing, or rather we are worshipping goddess Saraswati. Okay, and that is somehow, in our DNA, that if I am pursuing Saraswati, I'm pursuing the Gyan, knowledge, then I should not really talk about Lakshmi. And this is what people say, always Ganesha is there in between Saraswati and Lakshmi. And these two, they don't meet. And this is what we see in our academic institutions also. In academic institutions, if you talk about making profit out of your research, people say, no, you can't do it because it's a kind of taboo. Okay, you can't talk about generating profit out of the research, because research is gyan, research is knowledge, while profit is business, profit is vyapar, which is, they are two different things. So this is a paradox, and this paradox needs to be broken. And fortunately, this is being broken now across India. The good part is it is being broken. So things are changing, and I will show you some of the pointers which lead to say that things are changing. The research to commerce, this need is being realized by everybody across the spectrum, including government. And if you notice, in recent past, the government has put a lot of emphasis on doing applied research and leading to some kind of product development. Whether the new research scheme from DST or CSIR or DRDO, ISRO, anywhere you look at, the government is emphasizing on research does not only mean a research paper. Yes, research means a research paper. We must publish research papers. But at the same time, the research should not limit to only research paper. Rather, research should be also converted into a product, into a technology, something which you can transfer to an industry, or something which you yourself can start your own company. So that is something which is happening. And in particular, these 2+2 kind of funding schemes. And this is, this 2+2 is very prevalent in DST when you are interacting with some foreign agency for funding. So this requires one university and one industry from India, and one university and one industry from abroad. So that kind of pairing is done. And if the industry is also partner in the research, so the research outcome becomes useful for the industry. So this awareness is very much there now at the government level. And the government universities or the research labs, now they are expected to earn revenue. Okay, it's not like some 10 years back. Everywhere the government is expecting us to earn the revenue, and revenue we will earn only if we can convert our research also in some kind of technology which can be transferred to the industry, or some kind of startup, so that institute has an equity in the startup, which the equity can be converted into revenue. So whichever way, and because of this reason, many incubation centers are coming in universities and outside also. Many state government departments have got now their incubation centers or accelerators, and very good accelerators. Like I am aware of some accelerator in Kerala, very active and doing great job. Similarly, in other state governments also, they are accelerators or the incubation centers, and they are doing good job. So yes, ultimately, yeah, there is a very good ecosystem in India, which is now ready for startup culture, and a good startup culture is spreading in India. So at this stage, uh, what we researchers needs to do, that is an important thing. So I will give you a briefly, just in 2 slides, the IIT Kanpur startup ecosystem. And I believe wherever you're working, in your universities or in your town, in your state, there should be some kind of ecosystem for the startups, some kind of incubation center, and it is available now mostly. Only yes, we need to just find it out. So IIT Kanpur has an startup incubation and innovation center. So far, we have graduated 70 companies from IIT Kanpur, and right now also we have 66 companies incubated. And these 66 companies are by the students, by the faculty members, and also by someone who is not connected with IIT Kanpur. It doesn't matter. Anybody can come in IIT Kanpur, can start his own venture, and he will have to apply for mentorship from one of the professors. Okay, and and then yes, they provide a lot of facilities. Different kinds of facilities are provided, and I will not get into details of this. And also, for an startup at different stages of the idea, there are now avenues of funding. So this is a slide that I have taken from IIT Kanpur startup. At the ideation stage, there are funding opportunities. In the prototyping stage, again, funding opportunities. Then the seed funding is being given by many others. And finally, for the scaling up. And then furthermore, the funding can be arranged from the venture capitalist or the private equity, or maybe loan from the banks, and so on. So yes, as I said, many opportunities. Government is promoting startup culture now like anything, and large number of competitions are happening, and in order to promote it. So we in the geospatial technologies now, I'm coming to this. We who are working, who are doing research in the geospatial, for us, what are the startup opportunities, and how we can convert our research into startups. So whatever my experience, I would like to share it with you. And let's have an idea about that market, geospatial market. So geospatial market by 2025 is going to be around 135 billion USD around the world. So it's a huge market, it's a big market. If you just look at the Indian market, by 2025, it will be around 20 billion USD of geospatial market will be there in India. So there's a big market. And if you see some of the literature which talk about this market, then you will find of this market, they are service sectors. Okay, majority of the market is in service sector. Then they are sales of the different kinds of equipments, or the software products, and so on, or the solutions, and so on. So the question is, if there is a big market which is available in India, out of this big market, how much percent can be taken by the research that you are doing today? Okay, can you generate something, some revenue by through your research out of this big market? And one more thing, yes, when we are talking of the geospatial, we talk of the data. And I would like to quote Mukesh Ambani here, and who we know is putting a lot of investment in his data business. So Mukesh Ambani in 2017, he said that data is the new oil. And of course, this is what is being talked about by everybody. Data is the new oil. And this can be any kind of data. But we in the geospatial, we know that geospatial data is the core of all data. Because when I was studying GIS during my MTech days in Roorkee University, at the time it was Roorkee University, now it is IIT Roorkee, I was told, and now I realize that 80% of human activities have bearing on location. That's a very profound statement here. And that is true also. 80% of human activities has to do something with the location. So if 80% of the human activities has something to do with the location, we are generating so much of data, or we need so much of data, the data that we call the geospatial data. So once the data is the new oil, so that means the geospatial data is going to play a very important role. So that is one basic thing. And because of that, the geospatial data is driving the geospatial market. And what are those drivers of the market? Currently, you may be knowing that one scheme with the name of Swamitwa is going on in India, where with the help of the UAV, they are making the maps of villages so that the land title can be given to the farmers. So Prime Minister Modi inaugurated that. So we have 250,000 villages. They need to be surveyed. Another driver here. India is 32 lakh square kilometer. And if we talk of large scale mapping of India, say at 1:1,000, 2,000, 1:4,000, still only 2-3% of India might have been mapped. Rest of India is still yet to be mapped. So that's a big driver, a big opportunity. And of course, we know GNSS-enabled survey devices, or AI, ML-based GI solutions, or data integration, or drone for data and delivery. They are the drivers. I will come in little finer details later. Smart city initiative in India. And we know 5G is coming. For the 5G, again, the geospatial data is going to play a very important role. So in autonomous driving, okay, precision farming, forest and water, disaster management, military intelligence, and IoT, the location analytics of the IoT devices. So in all these areas which are driving the market, the geospatial data is the core, is the basis. So at this stage, one question. Okay, what are the research areas suitable for startups in geospatial? And if someone asks me this, my answer will be, in fact, all. Whatever I said. So I'm not going to list any specific one. Okay, yeah, this or this or this, something, and I cannot do that. I will try to list only a few, but all the areas that I was talking about related to the geospatial are the areas where the startups can be started, where the new businesses can be started, because the scope is there everywhere. And let us get into the research now. So what is research? I will start with this. And I like this quote, and long back in around 1990, when I was in IIT Bombay, in IIT Bombay library, I found this quote. And this quote it says, the research is seeing what everybody sees and thinking what nobody thinks. Again, it's a very profound quote. Research is seeing what everybody sees and thinking what nobody thinks. That's a very important thing. And this is actually the genesis of the research idea that you have, or genesis of the idea for your next startup. Because what are the startups? We all know. And when we see a very successful company, we think, oh, we knew it already, but they have done it. So they could see something, or rather they could think about it. They could convert something into a product. So that's a very important quote. And in general, yes, for young students mostly here, Uh, why we do research? Research we do mainly for contribution to the existing knowledge, and more importantly, for making an impact in the lives of people. That's very, very important. These are the goals of the research. And the type of the research that we do, in the basic research, mainly done by in sciences, we try to answer the basic science questions here. But this is the concern, our concern, where the applied research. In applied research, we use the existing knowledge, the knowledge which has been already developed for technology development, number one. Number two, we look into the existing knowledge and the technologies around us, and then we develop their applications. We find the applications of the technology. For example, the UAV is a wonderful technology. So what are those application areas where the UAV can be used? So working in these areas, that's the applied research, which can be taken to the startup. So we measure our research outputs, and we measure them, research publications, we know it. We should look forward for the patents, products, and startups. And finally, yes, whatever we are doing, unless whatever we have the research output, it is not accepted by people, it is of no use. Okay. And because of this, I like to promote this, that whenever we are doing research, or whenever we are writing a research proposal to a funding agency, and if we want to do applied research, if you want to take the research for a startup, we want to take the research for a product, we want to take the research for technology development, the technology which can be later on transferred to a company, then please try to do one thing. Try to also make a business model around the research proposal that you're doing. Because the moment you start writing the business model for the research proposal that you're doing, then you understand whether your research has got certain relevance or not. Because in writing business model, you start asking questions to yourself. Who are the users? Whether someone will pay money, okay, whether someone will pay some money or not. So we start asking that kind of question, and in this business model, okay. So it's very important, and for the people who are interested in a startup, I would like to say this: if you are working in a research topic and later on you want to convert it to the research, please also at the same time try to write the business model, because you'll have to answer yourself certain questions. So that's a very important thing. Another aspect, and so far, when we are not thinking of uh, taking an idea to the industry or starting a company out of the idea, we would do our research mostly in these technology readiness labels. They are called TRLs. So TRL 2 and 3, means just the basic technology research and research to prove the feasibility. We are working, generally our researches are limited to this. We don't go beyond. But in order to go for a startup, we have to go to technology level 4 to 6. So 4 to 6 means we are doing further development of that technology and demonstrating that technology through a proper prototype. Okay. Not only this, if you want to go for the startup, we need further special effort for creating ready to market product. This is really tiring. It's very, very tiring, because the very first two stages are very easy. We do the research within our room, we write research paper, we publish, and we are happy. But creating a prototype out of your research, where you can realize some job with the help of the concept that you have developed in the research, is second stage, which is tough. The toughest one is when your prototype is ready to market. Means the people have started expressing interest in your prototype. People want to take it, people want to buy it, people want to use it. Okay, this is somewhere where most of our efforts are required, and this is where I have seen our academic research do not venture. We don't get into these areas. We rather limit ourselves to this or maybe maximum this, and then we do not make further efforts. So if you want to take our research to the startup, we have to learn how to move from 4 and 5 level to 6, 7, 9 levels. Because once we cross the 9 level, our technology is ready to be taken to the market for the commercialization, for scaling up. Okay, now I will come to rather answering the very first thing that Dr. Ramarao asked me. Okay, the areas in geospatial where the research should be done for a startup. Okay, and as I told, there is no binary answer here. There's no exact answer here. And with whatever I have said so far, with that, you have a fair idea, okay, why I cannot give you a very exact answer. But still, well, some of the things which I see can be good areas for your research if you want to take it to the startup. And I start with these three evergreen sectors, agriculture, healthcare, and education. Whatever the case, whether it is the case of COVID, no COVID, war, no war, and whatever the case, these three sectors are always there. Okay, that's why I call them, evergreen sectors. So any research that you're doing related to these, agriculture, healthcare, or education, maybe your research in geospatial, but that geospatial research is working somewhere or helping somewhere in the agriculture domain, or somewhere in the healthcare domain, or somewhere in the education. Okay, these are the evergreen sectors. So very good sectors, and for the success and for the chances of failure are less because that market is always there. The another one coming up sector, and we know it, we are talking it day in, day out, is the industry 4.0. And when we talk about the industry 4.0, that means highly connected devices. Okay, so Internet of Things, and combined with augmented reality and virtual reality, and then artificial intelligence, deep learning, machine learning, and of course, big data, because we are generating a lot of data. So anything that is around this, because the industry 4.0 is the thing now, is the next, revolution industry, something which is coming up. Anything that we do, here is one example of it, and you know it. And this is a driverless car, and we know that driverless car houses the some kind of sensors. These sensors can be the LiDAR sensors, or can be the camera sensor or radar sensors, and so on. And in order for a driverless car to negotiate the road, you need the SD maps. So this is one example of the SD map, which has been generated by mobile mapping. The SD means a high density map. So this high density map is sitting in the memory of the driverless car. So it knows where it will find, a speed breaker, where it will find a signboard, where it will find a turn, and at a very fine level. Unlike the Google Earth data or Google Map data, at very fine level, these high density maps provide that information to the vehicle. And then this vehicle, with the help of the onboard LiDAR or onboard camera, is also observing the surroundings. And on the basis of these, it is collecting the data. And from that data, with the help of the AI and so on, it is trying to classify that data, segment that data, understand what are the obstructions in the data, what kind of vehicles are in the surrounding, is there a person who is crossing the road, and so on. So this is just one example of the connected devices, of the use of the 5G, IoT, augmented reality, and so on. So we can think of many areas in geospatial domain, because this application itself, the moment I talked about the LiDAR sensors, I talked about the classification of the LiDAR data, we are talking something that we do in geospatial, okay? And I talked about the high density maps. So this is something that we do in geospatial. So for example, the HAIR maps, deep maps, civil maps are the companies which are generating this kind of data, this kind of map all over the world. Yet in India, we have not generated this data. And TomTom Maps is one data set which is trying to do it in India. And I think in coming future, this kind of high density maps will be generated also for India, so that at some point of time in future, when the driverless cars, they come to India, we have the ready-made data with us. Okay. So anything that your research has to do, maybe not in driverless car, but any other area in this domain is the good area. Another big area is the digitalization of the world. And when we say digitalization, and we are talking about, in the post-COVID scenario, or rather, it's still not post-COVID, rather we are ongoing COVID scenario, uh, we are talking a lot of the digitalization. Everything is being digitalized so that we can do our jobs in online in more efficient manner. And this is also called digital twins. And we are creating the digital twins of our cities. For example, Dr. Giridhar was asking, can we use the LiDAR data for assessing the revenue or tax for that purpose? And the work can be done. And I'm sure around the world, this is happening. So digitalization, again, with the help of the technologies like airborne LiDAR, along with the mobile LiDAR in the city. And we have done one digitalization like this for city of Chandigarh, where we have captured the data from the airborne platform as well as mobile platform and put that all in 290 layers of the data. And then we are going to create a 3D city JML from the data in the future, so that the real world that we have, we can create a virtual world for this. And this is really exciting, very exciting. We are creating a virtual world which is sitting in our computer, which is sitting in the cloud. And now on that virtual world, you can do different kinds of analytics and planning. For example, recently we did for Bangalore city. We have a model like this for Bangalore using LiDAR data. And for Bangalore city, we tried to find the solar potential of the rooftop. So each roof in the Bangalore city, what is its solar potential? So that kind of analysis can be done, and we have done it for Bangalore. Similarly, this kind of virtual world can be used for flood modeling in the city and many other applications. Okay, so this is something, a very, very important area, and the people who are working in the geospatial domain have to do something with this, rather a lot with this. It's just an example of a large number of 3D city models which are being built around the world. And we have done in India we are doing it for Chandigarh, and there are many other cities around the world where it is being done. And further, one more thing that I see, a very important aspect, what we observe now, earlier the remote sensing data, GIS software, and the surveying equipment, all these used to be available to only few people. But now there is a democratization of the data and application through cloud. And that's a very important statement, because anybody with the expertise of working with the data and generating new applications can work without even working in NASA, or without working in NRC, or without working in DRDO. I can do a lot sitting at my home. That kind of possibility is there. So large number of data sets are available. For example, if you know it already, Bhuvan, Google, OpenStreetMaps, or from USGS or maybe ESA and many other sites, large number of open data are available nowadays. Not only data, there are also large number of open source or free software also available on cloud. And you might have used the Google Earth Engine, or maybe there are many open source and free GIS softwares or the deep learning softwares which are available on GitHub and so on. So what it does, it is leading to decentralization of the experts and the production. We are moving from centralized production to decentralized production. Centralized production, when in a place, all the people will come and will work on the server and other things locally in that place. But now the new kind of businesses which are emerging are the individuals sitting in their home with the help of the cloud and with the help of the data which are available, can do their research, can generate their ideas, can generate solutions for the people. So this is something which is happening. And new businesses also are looking for those kind of experts who are working in a decentralized manner. They are the experts sitting in different parts of the world, and you buy their time. Okay, you work, say 7 days in a month, you work for me, that kind of time you buy, and then together you create a product or whatever. It's a very important thing. So this is a very important aspect that I find. And in India also, our young people, and even all the people, can make use of this opportunity where so much of thing is available for free, and then we can generate the solutions on top of this, and then those solutions can be provided to the people. Another area, as per my understanding, my background, and what I saw in the market is on the geospatial education. We have a good number of online education, platforms now available. Whether you talk of Baiju or Unacademy or many others, but still I do not find a good geospatial education thing online. And when I say good, it does not mean just few lectures or few things. Rather, it should be a very comprehensive one, where it can provide the training on the basic fundamentals. There is a need to develop animation for teaching concepts, because in geospatial, once we talk about the concepts, they are very complicated. If you are talking of the geodesy, you're talking of the coordinate transformation, you're talking of the map projection, you're talking of the physical geodesy, and so on. A good animation is required in order to teach these. Similarly, there's a requirement to develop virtual laboratory tools so that people sitting in faraway places can do the laboratory without actually working with the actual hardware. And then there's a need of developing these virtual laboratory exercises. There's a need to develop tools for simulating various things that we do, or maybe simulating the satellite data, LiDAR data, and so on. So I see a lot of scope for this, and I see also a scope for geospatial experts on the consultancy support to government and other organizations. Right now in India, whenever the government organization is using the geospatial technology, they are not much aware about the technology. Neither they are aware about the kind of the accuracies the product should support. Also, they are not aware of how to measure that accuracy. So I see a gap here. I see a vacuum here. So there is a requirement for this kind of thing. One more thing that I would like to say, many times, yes, we don't reinvent the wheel. And again, for the young people, and or if you are looking for doing your research and taking it to the startup, anything that you can build around these 6 bigs now, because these 6 bigs, they are doing a lot in the geospatial, they are doing a lot in the deep learning and so on, and the cloud technologies. So anything that you can build on top of them, okay, on top of them, can be much faster, will have a bigger market. So that's what I feel. All right, now, yeah, sometimes people ask you, okay, yeah, what is the good idea? What is the good idea for research for startup? I didn't give you any single idea here, okay, that you do this, you'll get it. And I don't want to do that also. And rather, how to generate that idea. And I will tell you one interesting event. Once in IIT Kanpur, Dr. Anil Gupta from IIM Ahmedabad, he was delivering a lecture on frugal innovations. And the innovation which is done at very grassroots level by different people. So simple farmer could make a very nice innovation, a very good device. So he was talking about it. And At the end of his talk, once he talked about all these good ideas and products, one student of IIT Kanpur from electrical engineering, he stood up and he asked the question, Sir, I know good physics, good mathematics, I know very good electrical engineering, I know computer programming and all that, but I don't know which problem to solve. So I think this is the biggest problem here. We do not know the problem to solve. Which problem is to be solved? Where is the problem? So how to identify that problem which you can solve? For example, you're doing some training in geospatial. You're learning the geospatial technologies. You know GIS quite well. You know image processing quite well. You know geodesy, surveying, and all that. Well, so what? Where is the problem to solve? So looking at the problem, identifying the problem is really very important and an expert's job. And I'll not say expert's job, rather it needs little patience and practice and a keen eye to identify the problem. So my take on this is, to see this, you read the latest literature. Okay, whatever the new developments are happening in technology, read about those. What are the new applications being found around the world? Read about those. So you are equipped with what is happening on the technology front. Observe your surroundings. That's very important. Observe your surrounding keenly. If you have a keen eye to observe your surrounding, you will find that there are large number of problems yet to be solved. Many problems yet to be solved. If you talk about GIS, image processing, or LiDAR technology, or SAR, or anything, you talk about it. And so the problem can be in the technology side. You want to improve the technology. You want to improve, by new algorithms in image processing, by new algorithms, as Dr. Jaya was trying to do, new algorithms for understanding LiDAR data. So you can think of the problems in the technology side, or you can think of the problems which are on the application side. There are problems in the field which needs to be solved, and we have to apply the technologies. So this is an important thing. Otherwise, despite our good background, unless we identify the right kind of problem, we'll not be able to come up with a good startup. And finally, as I said earlier also, whatever the idea that we are talking about, assess that idea with a business model. Build a business model around the idea. In the beginning itself, try to make that business model in the beginning itself. Okay, maybe a rough one. Because once you're making the business model, you start asking yourself some very relevant questions. And then you decide whether your idea, what you're thinking, is good or not. Okay, so what I will do now, I will finish this with briefly talking about my research, which I'm doing right now. And though not all of these research is really leading to a startup, not possible, but I try to do the research where things can be converted into product, can be converted into a patent, can be converted into technology transfer, and so on. Okay, and of course, publishing papers out of that, research papers. And as I said, yes, I work mainly in LiDAR technology, the complete domain of that, starting from data collection, processing, applications, sensor integration, calibration. This is where I focus. And one of the current research area that we are doing is on using deep learning techniques for semantic segmentation or classification of the LiDAR data. So recently we have published 3 papers on this line, and we were using a voxel net approach. And now we are attempting some different approaches. This approach we developed. Now we are working on point net plus point CNN, 2D CNN approaches for LiDAR data. Because with our work so far, I understand that still a lot needs to be done to improve accuracy and to reduce time. And also to include maybe more channels, the red, green, blue intensity in the deep learning architecture. And then yes, application of this in the new areas. This is one area that I'm pursuing. Another research area which I pursue, and this is something which I have been pursuing for quite some time. And we have also some software we developed, and many people downloaded that software around the world. called Limulator. And this Limulator is a LiDAR data simulator. So basically, we create terrain like this in Google Sketch. And because the terrain is in Google Sketch, the terrain is inside your computer. Then over this terrain, we fly mathematically. So fly mathematically means I'm trying to replicate the functioning of a LiDAR sensor. And ultimately, I'm trying to solve from the LiDAR the laser which comes to the ground where it is intersecting the terrain. And that way, we try to generate the LiDAR data, simulate the LiDAR data, which has these similar properties as if the actual sensor would have flown over this terrain. Okay, so we are basically generating LiDAR data by simulation. And why are we doing it? Earlier, my idea of this was as an educational tool. So the people can generate data because LiDAR data is not available that free in India. So people can generate LiDAR data and can use it in the laboratory. That was the idea. But now I find that there are applications of this, say in autonomous vehicles or also for deep learning training data generation. Because we know whether it is autonomous vehicle or whether in any deep learning thing, we need a lot of training data. And currently the training data can be generated only if I go to the field, collect the data. But going to the field, collecting the data is an expensive exercise. So can we generate the data which is similar to the actual data by LiDAR simulation? So this is what we are doing right now. And now we have to do a lot more work, and including the dynamic environment. I'm trying to see if I can bring in, instead of Google engine, I can bring in some game engine into it, say Unreal. Okay, I bring the game engine, and within the game engine, then we generate the data. So that is something that we are seeing in our research. And there was a talk about Dr. Venkateswar talked about the clustering of the trees. So this is also my research interest. And here is an area near Goa, corresponding LiDAR data, and then segmentation of the trees. Once the trees are segmented, and let me admit here, right now, this is not fully automatic. And this is where we want to work to make it automatic. Once the tree has been segmentation, individual trees, here is the data of an individual tree. From here, you can derive some parameters of the tree. For example, tree height, tree projection area, tree canopy base height, tree location, and the ground elevation, and so on. Now, with those parameters and with the allometric equations, can we convert it into the biomass? So here is a map for this area showing the locations of individual trees as well as their CPA and then corresponding database. And then with the help of this database, the question is, can we convert into the biomass or the carbon stock? A lot of research has happened in this around the world. But in India, yet no work has been done, or maybe very few work has been done. So I'm trying to work with the forest organizations, those who have understanding of the forest, so to do it further. And then this is another area which is related area, and this is a very interesting problem. As we know, most of our water after rainfall, the precipitation, it flows to the river and then to the sea, and we are not able to hold that water. If we are not able to hold that water because we don't have much of vegetation, or our soil top layer is not there, or whatever the reason, or rather we have built houses in the areas which are supposed to be the depression in a city or water storage areas. So because of that, the rainwater is now flowing away to the sea. So there is an effort now from the central government that can we make very small rainwater harvesting structures. Okay, so they are sometimes, they are called also soil conservation structures, water conservation structures. So they can be contour bunds, they can be the contour trenches, they can be boulder check dams, or later on the check dams, and so on. So this kind of work right now is being done manually. People are trying to use the uh, remote sensing and the GIS in some manner, but still this is not an automatic thing. So we are trying to look into this aspect that with the help of a high resolution LiDAR data, GIS expert system, can we make this process automatic so that we can automatically identify the sites for different kinds of structures. So I find it quite interesting and very relevant. And recently, Government of India has also launched a pilot project where across 28 states, small pilot areas will be mapped, and then this work will be done there. As I said earlier, yes, I have also interest in the 3D city modeling, and we have done something for Chandigarh. And once we have got the 3D city model, I can use it for the rooftop solar estimation. And I'm looking for this. We are not working in this yet, that 5G network planning, okay, other urban analytics. We have done for the urban flood. We have done the work for the urban flood. So this is another area where the things can be done. This is the last, my area of interest. It is not about the LiDAR, and this is, but it's a very, very interesting problem. Of course, we have taken a little more time in coming onto the results of this. The problem is this: in India, our villages are like this. If you observe this on the left-hand side, this image, the land plot boundaries are highly irregular. Number one. Number two, the owner, say for example, let's say there are 10 owners in this village. For all those 10 owners, their plots are not in one area, rather they are distributed everywhere. So the net result of this is poor productivity of the village. So what we do, can we consolidate the land? The meaning of the land consolidation is, from here, can we convert the village like this? Okay, now the plots are properly laid out and very good shape, workable shapes. At the same time, one person is given land in one area, second person in second area, third person in third area, and so on. So this is the process of, in North, we call it chakbandi or land consolidation. A very important area from the social impact point of view. And so we have some work on this, and we are working further on this line. Again, yes, now working with the expert system GIS to try to make it automatic, this process. All right, so I will conclude here. And yeah, startups, as I said, are important. And this is why this talk is there, no? Because we all are thinking of the startups now. And research to startups is very much possible. And today is the right time, right opportunity, because government is highly positive on this. And there are many opportunities for funding. So finally, yes, for all of you, whoever is thinking about it, just don't think. Yes, get set and go. Start your venture. Think of that, okay? And if at all at any point of time you want to ask me some questions on this, well, I will welcome you. If at all you are interested in pursuing your higher studies in IIT Kanpur, in the areas that I talked about, or maybe some other areas also, you're most welcome. Write an email to me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. We have a few questions from the participants.
Yes, please.
Okay, I will call out their names. Dr. Sandeep Bharadwaj, please unmute yourself and ask the question.
Yeah. Just a minute, ma'am.
Yeah, sure.
I have one question this regarding this. Can we use the crude geospatial data to sell? Actually, the few companies, they don't want processing on it. Suppose we cannot apply the AI or any deep learning kind of algorithm. They simply want, you simply collect those data from the remote areas, from those villages, like GPS data loggers, and you directly sell them. Can we start this as a startup? I'm just
Yeah.
asking this question.
Yeah. You assess the market. What is the market for that kind of data? If you see the market, you can do it. because collecting that kind of the data and selling it to the clients is not restricted in any manner.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. But this is an ethical question, basically. That's what
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
asking.
you can do it. You can do it because it is being done. In any case, it is being done. The data
Because
are,
I have seen those villages, those GPS data, so data is very of premium order. In fact, they from a strategical point of view, like water harvesting, the
yeah,
irrigation facilities, and the lidar facilities in those Thar desert areas, the people doesn't found any vehicles. So that's what I'm saying.
yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah. I think, see, collecting
Thank
the
you.
data in India, I will tell you briefly. In India, if you want to collect the data with GPS, go to the field, collect the data, you can sell it to anybody, and that is happening. No, many companies are doing it.
Thank you.
Only if
Thank
you
you.
want to collect the data from airborne sensors,
Yes.
helicopter, aircraft, or UAV, then you have to take the permission from the MOD and DGCA.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from Dr. Sandeep Bharadwaj. From Dr. Sabyasachi Mukherjee. Sabyasachi, please unmute yourself and ask question.
Hello, sir.
yeah,
Am I
Dr.
audible?
Mukherjee.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
My question is, should a graduate with basic training of fundamentals go for startups in geospatial domain? The actual question is, I want to ask that what is the uh, uh, parameter when a student is ready to go for a startups? Should a graduate or masters or only research scholars? I know
okay.
it depends on.
Yeah, I think, see, the answer for this is, I will say a person can go into a startup at any time. See, a person who is entrepreneur, what he needs, the most important thing that he needs is the grit, is the risk-taking ability. Other things are possible. And at the just after BTech also, for a person, for example, he has some understanding, and he can start his venture. It is not that he does not know anything. If he has the grit, he wants to learn, he takes one idea, learns that idea further, he can definitely get into it. And there are examples, there are many examples where people who are not yet having bachelor's degree have started their companies. Many examples. So I would not relate it to the education. And I would rather say the person should have the grit and the willingness to learn and then go ahead.
Thank you, sir.
Can the other participants please unmute yourself? Please mute yourself. We have the next question from Sri Radhakrishnan. Sir, kindly ask the question.
Yeah, my question. Hello.
Yes,
I hope
please.
you can hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My question is regarding, because if we want to start UAV photography, what will be the software which we can use?
Yeah, see, many people are using the Pix4D software nowadays. Pix4D is a good software.
Okay, so thank you.
Yeah.
Is it open source or paid?
No, it's a paid software.
Okay.
It's a paid software, and you can look for open source also. I don't remember right now, but there is an open source software also which you can use.
Okay, so thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have the question from Dr. Jyoti Ruba. Ma'am, kindly ask the question.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. I just wanted to know whether people who are interested, students or anybody who are interested in the startup companies, should they get permission from the state government or central government before going ahead with their work?
No, there is no permission required. If a person is interested in starting her own venture, no permission is required. That person should register a company, and it will take, nowadays it is being done in 4 days or so. So the company will be registered, and so there is nothing like permission required. Of course, he should have a registered company in order to apply for the seed funding and other things from the banks or the state governments or the DST.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from Sri Ashish Paul. Ashish Paul, kindly ask the question.
Yeah, very good afternoon, sir.
Yeah,
Am I
Ashish Paul,
audible?
please. Yeah, Mr. Paul, you're
Yeah,
audible.
my question is that can we estimate the biomass and carbon sequestration using this sequestration of forest by using this LiDAR data?
Yes, this is it is possible, and LiDAR is rated to be the best technique for estimating the carbon stock or the biomass in a forest, and it is possible.
Okay.
And this is what I said. Also, we are working in that area, and I'm looking forward to work with more forest people because the domain knowledge is also very important in this. And
Yes, sir,
once we
yes,
have the
yes.
domain knowledge, once we create the allometric equations, so this is possible. It is possible.
Okay. Sir, one thing I want to know more things that suppose I am staying in Arunachal Pradesh. It is very hilly terrain area. Okay.
Yeah.
So is it possible to using this LiDAR to getting this data?
Yes, I will tell you one thing. Recently, we have done LiDAR in Ladakh.
Okay. But the vegetation of Ladakh and vegetation of Arunachal Pradesh is totally different, sir. That's why
Yes.
I'm asking.
Okay, so one question, one part is the altitude. I'm addressing the altitude. Now I'll come next. Not only Ladakh, we have done it for Himachal.
Okay.
Okay, Himachal has got a lot of vegetation. So
Yes.
yeah, so vegetation is it will be difficult for the points or the pulses to reach the ground if the vegetation is very thick. Because in the case of LiDAR, the basic thumb rule is if you are under the vegetation, you cannot see sky from the forest floor, then you will not get any LiDAR data. Okay? But what people have observed, even in the rainforest and many of the works that we have done, you think that the vegetation is very thick, but still there are sufficient number of holes in the canopy. The LiDAR can generate the data. And we have done a project in Mizoram. And Mizoram, for a hilly area and highly undulating, as well as very good vegetation there, is still a very good quality data could be generated for the floor.
Okay, thank you so much, sir, for your nice presentation and very informative. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from Sri Debashish Chakravarti.
Sir, actually, I am having one question.
Yes, please.
Sir, actually, you have mentioned during your lecture that Kanpur IIT is having facility to provide some sort of startup if somebody or some researcher wanted to work with Kanpur for some sort of for initiating startup. So that's what you have mentioned in your this thing. So how one can go on that directions actually?
Right. See, IIT Kanpur incubation center is open for anybody, as I made this statement earlier. And we have a website for that. You go to the website, and in the website, you will find the forms to be downloaded. Fill up those forms. And then what you have to do, you are talking to one of the professors of IIT Kanpur who will be mentoring you. Okay. So then that professor who is mentoring you, together, your papers are going to that incubation center, and there they evaluate your idea of the research. They see your business model, and they ask you to make the presentation. So once that is fine, then you are invited to incubate there. And then that incubation center will give you the space, electricity, net connections, email connections, blah, blah, all those things facilities. Okay. And then with a payment, of course, with a payment, which is meager, not much. But with that facility, with that environment of IIT Kanpur around you and a good address, you have a time of around 2 years to incubate your idea, to come up to the prototype level. And once you are at the prototype level, then you can start approaching the market also. Someone who is interested in your product, or maybe you yourself, you want to scale it up, whatever. So it is possible.
So in that case, fund will be provided by IIT Kanpur or?
No, initially you have to put a few lakh from your pocket as the capital. And then IIT Kanpur does not provide fund, rather that incubation center will provide you some seed funding. It is around 25 lakh rupees. Okay. So that funding is provided by our incubation center, and that is a seed funding. And I think it comes as a loan in a very nominal rate, very nominal rate.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for your
and there are many other avenues for funding. Many other avenues of funding.
Thank you very much, sir, for your information, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from Sri Naresh Kumar.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, good afternoon, please.
Actually, my question is, what are the regarding government funding scheme available for deep AT recognition startups like that?
Sorry, for what?
What are the government fundings also? What are the government fundings are available for deep AT recognition startups?
Okay.
Like you already mentioned the funding.
Yeah, same. For example, from DST has got a funding of around 5,000 crore, which is dispersing to different people to do research in the deep learning activities. Okay, and if you go to the Niti Aayog site, so there also I'm sure you will find something. So I'm using for my research project, I'm using the funding from DST, but I'm aware of many other funding sources in the government which are supporting the deep learning activities. Okay, I don't remember that off my head right now, but once you just Google for that, you will be able to locate those. Yeah, did I answer your question?
Naresh Kumar?
Sir? Yes, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am. Some internet problem.
Was I audible to you? Did I answer your question?
Mr. Naresh Kumar, could you able to hear the answer from sir?
Sir, are you audible?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're audible. Do you still have some question?
Sir, no, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all the participants for asking the questions.
I will say. Sir, thank you very much, sir. It's it's always for us an inspiring session, and when we hear the very same voice and the way that you inspire not only your students there. I know that you have been one of the most popular teachers in IIT Kanpur and elsewhere, and I have got information really from really unbiased sources, and it gives us always to be like if we wish we should be the students to you, like that kind of thing. And whenever we feel that we have a lot of this problem, that problem, government may not allow, or politicians may not allow, or institutions may not allow, LIDAR require this permission, that permission, all that. We always show that there is a way out, that we only have to make sure that we are genuinely interested to move ourselves from a simple employee to employer. And that's where we wish that, we should be taking your guidance and your sessions. And I hope that some of our participants could be taking a cue from your advices and turn themselves to entrepreneurship rather than trying hard to get some kind of employment. And I very much thank you very much, sir. I know, you have been really a lot of schedules and everything. Despite that, you have been always kind to us, and we are grateful to you, sir. And participants, thank you for that. And
thank you, Dr. Ramarao.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thanks.
Our next session will start at 3 p.m. And participants, one more thing, our session in the morning starts at 10 a.m. So kindly note that if there is any confusion. Thank you all.
Bye, sir.